important win for us, guys. It was really big, and to take care of some housekeeping. The shirts, you know, the shirts. The intent was when we started this thing, we talked, we listened. It was led by the players to, you know, make a statement about the social inequities that we have. And last Friday, when our student body wore the teal shirts, I was amazed how impressed Cassius Winston, Miles, some of those guys were. And I was actually moved by how powerful it showed of support for the survivors. And those guys talked about wanting to be a part of it. And so that's where we went today a little bit. So wearing the ribbon was our way of reaching out to them. As far as the game goes, I don't know why we got off to such a poor start. We've done that a couple games now. I think that falls on me. Coach's job is to get his team ready to play, and what we're confused about is the players actually have practiced harder than they play in the opening 10 minutes, which doesn't make any sense. But the way we kind of battled back about 3 different times, I think shows some character in our guys, and I was impressed with a lot of different guys. I mean, Cassius started out kind of slow, and then second half, I told him, I'm going to bring you off the bench. Not as punishment, maybe it would do a better job for you. And I don't know if it worked or not, but he played pretty hard. I thought McQuaid came off the bench and gave us a lot. Jaron was in foul trouble the whole night, so we had to move some people around. And Nick got frustrated in the first half. He was, you know, they doubled him hard, and we told him they were going to double him, but he started putting that ball down right away. And when he puts that ball down right away, it you know, gives him a better chance to double him. So we didn't do a very good job of that early. I thought the second half, he played with more patience. He got the ball out of that double team. We got a dunk, we got a 3, we got a couple of drives. We were a lot better, and I thought Miles took over a little bit in that stretch, which was good for him. So all in all, when you get a Big Ten win, and don't kid yourself, that is a good Penn State team. You know, they had some losses early because Reeves didn't play. He missed 4 of his first, I think, 6 games or something. And that kid's a competitor. I mean, he's kind of the Tom of us. He's the engine that runs that team. He's got more motor than maybe anybody on either team. And I thought that he's been a difference. He's the reason I thought they beat Ohio State. And the other guy that's really playing good is Carr. You know, he hit those big shots at the end, but you know, we held him to 9 for 24. Our defense and our rebounding was pretty good. And the other area that I think we've been excelling in is our free throw shooting, and that's been great. So, any questions? I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Coach, a follow-up on the Nassar survivors that you're recognizing with the ribbon and how much you feel your team could be a part of the healing process. I spoke to Lindsay Lemke, the MSU gymnastics captain, who was one of those survivors. Her feeling about meeting with the team with you is that it could be part of that healing process. Is that something you'd be open to doing?
Well, we're open to doing anything that helps the healing process, to be honest with you. But yet, there's so many things that have to take place before that, and you know, whatever they need, we'll do.
Coach, Michelle Steele, ESPN. Yesterday, one of your former players, Travis Walton, put out a statement just flatly denying any sexual assault or physical assault allegations. Do you believe his denials?
Well, I appreciate the question, and you know, one thing I've done my whole career, I've had great respect for the media, and you have the right to ask. And unfortunately, I have no additional comments. You know, it's been I've given my comments. I have no additional ones. I will cooperate with the investigation, as I always have with any investigation, but that's about all I'm going to say about it.
Do you have any inkling as far as a timeline of when you might be able to provide a full account of those players involved in the outside the lines investigation?
Yeah, I think there'll be a time when I'll be able to speak, but it isn't right now. There's too many things going on, and you know, with those survivors and everything. So I'm going to just stick to my guns and tell you that I still have great support for the survivors, but I'm just not going to have any comment on this whole situation.
Tom, over here, talking about basketball.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be nice. Your decision to put McQuaid on Carr really flipped the game and changed the game. Would you talk about that decision, please, and your thought process going into it?
Well, it wasn't that Josh was doing a bad job on him, but, you know, McQuaid is a good defender. I'd have to say, though, in fairness to Josh, that we did a better job stepping up. When Nick got a little bit out of it and didn't do his job, he wasn't stepping up enough, and so that makes the guard look bad. And we got those guys to step up a little better. Xavier did a pretty good job of it. Then we started switching forward Miles sometimes. So it was a combination, but McQuaid definitely brought not only those 2 big threes, but a lot of defense.
With 4 of the next 5 on the road, I believe it is, how big were these 2 wins cumulatively? Because they were similar. You looked in trouble in both games, and you kind of found a new gear in the second half to pull out victories.
Well, that's an area I'm proud of this team on. You know, it's right now we're playing against good people, but you got to realize that people are playing against the top 5 team, top 4 team, and you go to Maryland, and those guys are playing for their lives. They're playing for their NCAA tournament bid, and so we're going to get somebody's best shot. I mean, I think in Penn State, I am impressed with their team. I do not think they're a 5-5 team. I think they could be an 8-2 or 7-3 team if they would have had all their pieces. You know, they don't have a lot of depth, so the depth they have when he was injured created a big void for him. So, you know, it's not just us. Other than the coach got to do a better job of those first couple minutes, but it's also, you know, other teams are playing well. I thought Maryland started out the game to hit 4 to 5 threes. You know, these guys hit some threes from long range early. That's just going to happen.
Tom, the last 2 weeks, what have your emotions been like in dealing with a lot of these things, and how have you seen your team respond to that?
Well, guys, we don't have to worry about my emotions. We got to worry about my team's emotions, and I think my team has responded to the pressure of being one, the noise, everything that's gone on out there. I think they've responded pretty well. You know, we come back and we're 14 up in the second half, and you know, we had a couple of miscues down the stretch. Number 1, we threw the ball away, and number 2, they did a pretty good job and hit a couple of bombs. But you know what? This team's resilient. This team has done a hell of a job of staying focused. I mean, we're 21-3. I don't know what the best start in Michigan State history is, but we got to be closing in on it if we're not. And I give them a lot of credit.
Tom, as someone who's been frank and accessible to us, how challenging is it to stick to the script, perhaps the legal counsel is telling you, and also, you know, when you're not coaching, how difficult is it to focus on preparing to coach?
You know what, I'm preparing to coach every day, and that's what I do. I'm a coach. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a fan. I'm a coach, and I just got to do my job, and I'm going to try to do it the best that I can, and still in the back of my mind, always keep those survivors in it. I mean, they matter to me, and the healing process of Michigan State matters to me.
I'm going back to the players a little bit, especially Cassius. You mentioned hearing some of the things they said Sunday after the game and kind of how they struck you. Are you seeing through this? Are you seeing guys like Cassius Winston emerging as kind of this voice or this?
Well, Cassius Winston, his comments on the shirts and just the way he handled that, you know, because our fans are important to us, our student body is important to us. It's important to those kids, and I think there was a bond there because they were so impressed. They wanted to be, you know, like them. They wanted to feel like them. They wanted to do something. They wanted to help out, and that's where this whole thing came today. And you know, it's kind of neat when a university does come together like that, especially the student body. And those are students. The players are students, and fans are the students.
Tom, just to kind of actually repeat the first part of Larry's question, you know, there have been calls for you to speak out and on these specifics and things like that. Can you just tell us, you know, why you're not able to do that, or are you being advised to, or kind of what's the decision behind that right now?
Well, advised to is, you know, those of you that know me, I mean, I'm going to do what I think is right, but I'm sorry. I really am, because I watch a lot of TV, and I see on shows that, you know, everybody thinks everybody has the right to ask a question, and I've always believed that. I mean, I've always been a fan of the media, but I got to have my rights too, and I'm just gonna when time comes, I'll be able to speak out. And I know it might be frustrating, but it's just what I got to do.
Let me just ask you this, I can appreciate the noise, but it's a lot louder for you than it is for your team. In 23 years, have you had a tougher week than this?
In what way?
In every way. Distractions?
You know, when you lose to Middle Tennessee, that's a tough week. But
That's not as bad as this, is it?
yeah, I don't know. You know, I have an understanding of what is going on the best I can. I'm just going to handle it by keep working, keep my mouth shut, and do my job. And when the time comes, then I'm going to address the things that I need to address.
We got two more with Woj and then Hondo. I'm sorry if this is repetitive, but I guess what people are hungering for is, D'Antonio was up there 5 days ago and very strongly and adamantly defended his program and denied some things, and people are waiting to hear that from you. Do you have a yearning to vouch for your program and defend your program, and you just simply can't at this time? I mean, does that desire exist to defend it right now?
I don't know if I can't. I can do whatever I want to do, but I just don't think it's the right time right now. And again, I apologize, but I'm going to just stick to that right now.
Tom, for those of us who've covered you a long time, when you identify something earlier, it usually gets attacked and fixed. Are you surprised turnovers are still lingering this late in the year?
That's a good question. Not only surprised, but really disappointed. You know, I just don't know why we started the game. I think we had 4 in the first 2 minutes. And, you know, I think that's the thing that bothers me the most about this team and the most about my staff and myself, because you've got to be able to get that corrected if you're a coach. And so I'm going to really do what I do when I struggle a little bit. I'm going to look in the mirror and figure out how I can do a better job, because it's not always on the players. You know, maybe there's some things that I'm thinking they can do that they can't do, but I'm going to do a better job of trying to curb it. You know, although I think we were at 12, and then we turned it over about 3 times at the end. Is that kind of the way it went, or 13? So, you know, after a real rough start, we had a decent next 30 minutes, and then the last couple we were awful. So I appreciate you, and I'll look forward to seeing you down in Indiana.